Welcome, everybody. My name is Isa Schwartz-Jesso. I'm from IBI Art Gallery, and I'm delighted to present my two artists, Stompie Daniel Celebi and Don Maxwell Searle. They've worked on this magnificent collaboration together and have presented in our special projects with TAF 2020 some beautiful virtual gallery of Daniel's work, which showcases his work as a gallery in a beautiful warehouse space. And Don Maxwell Searle, with his amazing tools, has created a number of different videos. The lab, his work, which is also a virtual reality space of his work. And there is also an insert of an interview with the three of us with a 360 camera, as well as a wonderful video that Don has created with 3D images. And I'm here today for my two artists to talk and introduce themselves, to let you have a little bit more of an insight in terms of what we've done here and the different tools that we're using. I invite you to ask questions, and we're delighted to have you here. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Don. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your work, commercially and as an artist, that would be great.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Isa. It's great to be here. And it's interesting, this online stuff, even though I might go in and out of focus. Yeah, I mean, the technology is incredible. And basically, you know, as an artist, I've always used technology, from photography to lasers to holograms to computer graphics, and the evolution now, which is in virtual and augmented reality. And our lives are totally three-dimensional, and yet our art, most cases, unless it was sculpture, was always two-dimensional. Now with the new tools, we're able to create art and paintings in three-dimensional spaces and present them in three-dimensional spaces, either in virtual galleries or being able to actually view the gallery with a virtual headset and actually walk around a virtual gallery as you would normally. The only advantage is that scale is huge. We can have galleries that are thousands of feet high, or 2,000 feet under the water, or on Mars, or where we want. So the creativity aspects of the new tools just broaden our scope for creativity. And so that's kind of where we are right now.
So Don has created for us a two-story. Well, we have Dan's work as the introduction gallery, and then Don's work, which we'll show you halfway through our discussions this afternoon. So thank you very, very much, Don, for your introduction. And just from my side, to let you also know a little bit more about Don, he's been very shy. He's an exceptional commercial, I call everything art. So he's a commercial artist as well as an artist. Both titles. His commercial work spans across the boards, with working with top companies from Anglo-American to BMW. And I'd also like to introduce you now to, I think, Dan Walkabout. He is coming back. So here he is. Here is Daniel Stompie Celebi, who, if we can have an introduction from you about yourself, a little bit about yourself and your work and the work that you put on this special gallery for TAF 2020. Thanks so much, Daniel Stompie.
Oh, thank you so much, and it's a great pleasure to be given this opportunity, and I'm really delighted. Thank you, Isa. Thank you, Don. Basically, as a painter and a musician, and I think my work, it somehow plays to intertwine of sound and painting. And I think for this particular moment of this project that we've been working on with Don and Isa, and I think it somehow brought two aspects of digital art and my sort of improvised paintings that sort of unleashed the unseen behind eyes. And I think it somehow sort of brings the understanding of element of textures, of color, and how they really play such a significant role in evoking somehow memories, evoking situations that we somehow experiencing in 2020 as we facing this COVID-19. And I think we somehow managed to depict, giving the audience the understanding of how sound and and then electronic stuff can able to sort of evoke and then put people in the sort of a perspective of how we begin to rethink about our situation and how that it can able to bring possibilities in our stable lives as well.
Thank you very, very much, Dan. That's wonderful. So I'd like to invite any questions from anyone who is with us today. You're welcome to ask us some questions, but we also will play you now Don's insert, which is on the second level of our gallery. So Don, if I could ask you to play that second video, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
I just realized that I lost those videos, so you have to give me a moment. I'll just have to reload them again quickly.
So just a little bit more about myself. IBI Art has been in existence since 2006. I do most of my pop-up gallery shows at the Alliance Francaise, which is the French Alliance where French is taught. They have a beautiful gallery space. I normally host 6 to 8 shows a year. And I also have a teaching hat that I wear. I'm passionate about teaching, and I work in community with an NGO called Valued Citizens Initiative, as well as running my own art school. But I'm passionate about giving new artists that are expressing themselves in different ways an opportunity and a platform to expose themselves where things haven't been seen in that way. I find that it's quite difficult for artists always to get into the very, very top galleries. And so I'm here almost on the fringe to offer a space for the unusual, the new, and the fresh. So I'm the brave warrior that goes forward to show different works. So today, I'm very, very proud to be, I think, one of the first actually showing very unusual work, especially online here, in this new platform that we've been offered through the forum, which is great, and RMB. So it's been an exceptional show for us so far. I've had 2 other artists with me as well, Diana Hislop and John Stone, and we've done very well so far. Also, we're available to welcome anybody to all of our studios. If anybody would love to come and see some of Don's 3D work in the actual augmented reality, the 3D reality, the 3D virtual space with his headsets on, it's very exciting. And Dan's studio is also open for you to come and visit, and my studio as well. I have most of the TAF work at my space at the moment, but you're welcome to contact me at any stage on my numbers. You'll find them on the TAF website. Don, are you ready to show the next?
Yeah, ready to go, yeah.
Go ahead. Beautiful, wonderful, thank you.
Okay, here we go.
Great, lovely. Thank you very much, Don. If there are any questions that anyone would like to ask us, we look forward. So thank you very, very much for joining us today. We have Don, have you got one more of our videos to show?
I'll have to load that up, so just carry on for a minute.
Super. So Dan, just to ask you a little question, can you just tell us a little bit more about the process that you use when you're creating? Where do your ideas come from, and how do you actually get into the creative moment of creating the artwork?
Thank you, Rise. And I think one of this exciting moment for me is that, you know, I somehow relate more with with the sound. You know, I always often play, you know, the background music. That would be, you know, my own personal music or playing jazz. And I think as I sort of kind of like imagination of thinking of subject matters, and I think sound has somehow brings such a great pleasure to sort of thinking of those scenarios that I have to depict and put it on canvas, but not forgetting that, you know, that we are somehow part of the society that it's really it's somehow an influence of injectioning all those ideas that I sort of put on a canvas, and in a sense of improvised, in a sense of experimentation. But I think it is a really profound sort of question, that where I get my ideas, and often people would really be fascinated by the abstraction that I use, the intensity of color, the intensity of lines, and really distorted portraits. And I think that it has to do with the connection of putting yourself in that meditative way of thinking and spirituality that allows the possibilities of unknown and bringing reality in what you're experiencing in life as well. And I think sound has that unknown sort of signature of evoking all these imaginative of ideas. And all that, when it happens on a canvas, then you becoming so amazed by portraits, by a level of textures, by a level of intensity of that as well. And I think the biggest thing that my work is actually again inspired by the collaboration that I find myself collaborating with a lot of people in the past few years. And I think it gave such a great pleasure as well, and so much experience that I have learned over the years. And I think, you know, going back a bit, you know, when I look at the first collaboration that I did when I was really young in the first Biennale in South Africa in 95, and the second one in 98, and I think that's where everything started. And I see the relevance of collaboration, because sometimes it enhances the artistic ability of an individual in their own personal creativity. And as I, you know, been doing this project with Isa and Dawn, it really opened up other opportunities, and the COVID-19 it somehow brought that a level of another way of thinking differently about ourselves, our society, and then I think thinking about other human beings. And it brought so much connection, how we begin to value each other as human beings.
Beautiful. So just to I know that Lauren, who's helping us here today, has asked a very interesting question that also is about collaboration, how we actually came to collaborate with one another. So I worked with Daniel about 8 years ago, for many years in education, and also exhibited his work at the Allianz. And Don, I've started working with about 1.5 years ago. And Don took me down to the winelands for a special project. And we spoke about Stompie Daniels Celebi's work, and I said, oh, I know Dan very well, you know, wow, he's fabulous, let's get in touch. And that's what happened. And then we hit COVID, and John and Dan got together, and that's how this magical work all came to be. And they worked together. You know, we had some few meetings in the beginning, and then we couldn't meet, and then we were on Zoom, and then we met again, and then we were on Zoom again. It's been an unusual journey, but we've managed so well to work in this different space. And I think also John creating this gallery for Daniel to showcase his work. We can do it for any artist out there, and that's the exciting thing. We can actually go forward with this, and I know that Don and Dan and myself will be going forward to create special events in this space and in real life where we can showcase all of their tools together. So are you ready, Don? Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm just going to try and start it in the middle, but if not, it might be a replay, but I've started it in the middle.
Beautiful, wonderful.
The first part you saw, so.
Super.
Again, sorry. I couldn't start it in the middle. Carry on. You get to see the beautiful work twice.
Great. So thank you so much. It's so lovely to hear your music, Stompy. When I watch that, it's really exceptional. So we have some comments that have come through. The one was from Angela, who said the work was fascinating. Thank you for that. And we have Chantal, who's asked, what software program do we use for the virtual artwork? There's a question for you, Don.
There was a number of tools, but the primary tool was a tool called Tilt Brush, which is which works with either Oculus or with Vive headsets.
Super. Thank you. Thank you for that. And also there's another question that's come out. Zandile says outstanding, just for you to know. Thank you, Zandile. And we have another question for you, which is, it's a question that asks how we curated these works on the virtual. So I'll start by answering that, and then I'm going to pass it on to Don and Dan to answer. I basically put the two artists together during COVID, and I know that Stompy created new work for this particular virtual gallery, and I think it was Don's keen eye. I'm going to give it all credit to him that curated the work, but there was a lot happening between the two of you in the collaboration. So I'm going to first of all give the voice to Dan. Dan, can you tell us how you felt and how you created the work, and then how you related to Don and how the whole thing developed and grew from there?
Thanks, guys. Well, I think one of the things that are really fascinating is that, and I think that's where communication played such an important aspect of it. And I think as I was really excited, and then seeing how Don using electronic stuff, and I said to him, my work is really textured and dark and really a lot of color, evoking the dark and the sort of enhancing the two intertwine and give a really interesting contrast. And I said, it would be interesting if we can use this sort of factory industrial sort of roughness of, giving people an experience of that as well. And I think by looking at the roughness of the background of the industrial sort of scenes, and I think that sort of gives so much depth. And I think that Don we spoke more about it, and I said, it's new, so we have to figure out other ways. And I was like, somehow I was like, I feel really strong about this. And I think Don would somehow, I don't want to sort of add using his perspective, but I would like him to add to that.
Yeah, well, I think it was quite interesting when Stompy did want to exhibit in a factory style environment. And as a matter of fact, I found a point cloud model, which is like a three-dimensional scanned LiDAR, what's called a LiDAR scan of an old building, which just seemed very, very appropriate at the time. And the moment I started putting Stompy and my artwork in that space, it was, wow, a gallery can be any kind of space. And I've been creating virtual galleries over the past 4 or 5 years. Everything from, circuit type, oval galleries to spiral galleries to really bizarre galleries. Because I say, the scale is open to us in creating these spaces. But yeah, the moment we created this space for Stompy's direction of sort of this dark factory, it was like, exhibiting at the silos in town, or in a very, very, I think all the big shows today are in fact happening in all these industrial spaces. The top digital media shows in Tokyo now, which is all digital media, they showing them these huge factories because they can have projections that are 10, 20 stories high. And much the same they did in Paris, showing Van Gogh. No, in Paris it was Klimt. And they did these huge projections on the floor, on the walls everywhere. And similarly in Amsterdam with Van Gogh. So the way art is being shown and projected now is really, really interesting. So not only in a virtual space where we can change scale, but even exhibiting in very interesting spaces. And I think certainly Stompy's work looked so fantastic in that space. And the color really came out by exhibiting in a dark space.
Beautiful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Don and Dan. So there's another question, and that's a very pertinent question, very interesting question for all of us to answer. So I'm going to give it a shot myself, and then I'm going to pass the voice. I'm going to let you also answer. And the question is, what do we think the difference is between experiencing the works in reality versus in the virtual realm? So I'm actually going to start with Don, if you can answer that. So what do you think the difference is between experiencing the works in reality and versus the virtual realm? You go ahead, Don.
Look, it depends on the work. Obviously, any painting or anything, you want to experience the Mona Lisa, you want to see the actual thing. And you want to experience in a space where you have people, but, the most important thing is going to a gallery and having a hip, it's wine and cheese and dancing and, it should be a happening, Basquiat and those guys, when they had an opening, it was like the most major thing that happened in New York. And everybody was there, and everybody who was in the zoo was there. That's the ultimate to experience art, where you can experience with your friends, with celebrities, with, anybody that has a high appreciation of art, because then you can discuss it, you can explore it, you can tell you how terrible it is. Can't understand it, don't understand what it is, but I love it.
That's how it should be.
But at the same time, I think technology moves forward and our lives move forward and the mediums move forward and the experience of art changes. I don't think, if you go and have a look at a 17th century or 15th century paint and suddenly they're painting the nudes or they're doing cubism, it's a breakthrough. But you look at it today, you're not going to get the same power almost. I was watching another artist today who was talking about that painting is almost like about time, not necessarily only about space. Mm-hmm. And I think when we're experiencing art in today's world, you want to have it in experience. What's happening all over the world with these big multimedia things is that you're getting a much more enhanced experience with the art. So either if it's physical or even in virtual, I think the advantage of virtual over real is the fact that it can be much more powerful. You can include music. You can actually be in, like what I've tried to express in my works, is that you can actually go into the art and be in the art rather than looking at it. And for me, that's the big thing, is when you can actually be in the art now and participate in it. That to me is the power. And that to me where it takes art to the next level, without a question.
So in terms of my answer to that question, and thank you so much for that, Don.
I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you did. It's interesting, there's the tools that we're using in this space are the tools of the modern age, calling ourselves where we're living now in the present, because we are in social media, we are in the space where we are using our voices, we're using music, we nourishing ourselves on our telephones, through our TV sets, through movies. We're using the latest language. That's what we've been doing, and that's what's so exciting. One day when COVID is over, if it ever is over, or even with 50 people, can you just imagine taking both Don and Dan's creations that you've seen here today, taking that to a nightclub space, having a drink and moving and dancing to music through the artwork? That would be the ultimate. But I see you both as artists that are brave enough and courageous enough to use the new language in a different way to create art. And that's what's exciting to me. And that is the difference, and that's what artists do. They actually look at what's happening in the environments and use what's there to express themselves. So I'd say that we're on point in that regard, because we're quite out there in terms of technology. Dan, do you want to answer the question from your side, how you feel about?
Well, I think for both of you, you somehow elaborated really beautifully. But I think, I've said this many times, even though digital was introduced, if I go back, in my teens, when I used to be one of the students in helping curating, being an assistant curator at the Biennale, at the first time introducing digital work and then, in smaller rooms. And we have to put, earphones, have glasses, watching the digital artworks that were moving and in a very abstract forms. And I think we're looking now, the advantage of digital art, it somehow brought so much possibilities of a new way of expression. And I think that's one side I could look at it. And I think the other side that, what's the difference, going to the gallery, there's a huge difference. And I think going to the gallery, in an open exhibition, and then I think Don has elaborated that beautifully. It brings in a connection with other human beings. It brings up conversation. You begin to learn other new ways on how people look at your work, other opinion, etc. Digital work, and I think it brought another energy of, rethinking of how life actually revolves, and things have changed. The digital revolved, the revolution of that, took us to another level, and I think it's a scary thing. At the same time, always open up for new possibilities. It brings magic. It brings unknown. We have to make them real into these possible lives that we're living. And I think COVID-19 came as a shock. And I think we were in a position where people were forced to take the next level of a new life, a new journey. And I think that's the huge difference. If I may answer the question as it was asked. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. There's just a lovely comment that's come through from Chantal. She said, technology and this creative initiative makes art more accessible, allowing people from all spheres to view and appreciate art and artists. So that's a lovely comment.
I can add on that. In fact, I think that's exactly what's happening. The biggest reason for the digital world is that even if you've got the biggest gallery in Joburg or Paris or whatever it is, you have an opening, you'll get 500, 1,000 people, whatever, or museums over time. But with digital technology, we can access 3 billion people with that art. So suddenly, the potential of people experiencing art, yes, they might not see the painting up close, but you can show them the detail. I mean, Stompie's detail, I tried to show it in the video a little bit. It was a bit out of focus, but, you can go in and see high detail, even more than you would be able to see in a gallery. You go, oh, you're coming too close. You can't stay away from the painting. Don't touch. No, but you can actually go in and, as I say, even go right into the work. Or see the works, if it is a painting, in infrared light, in UV light. You could see X-rays of, they show some of the ancient works where you can actually see how the artist over time painted the one painting out and painted another one on top. So the experience of art can be far richer, and the data that can come with it can be far richer in a digital space, because someone can have the backstory, they can have the artist's impression, they can have the curator's story about it or whatever, as part of that artwork that you can call up. Even augmented reality, where you can come on top of the works, pointing out, oh, this painting over here has got this or that one, this, there. And you're able to have a richer experience, I think, in the end.
Wonderful.
Which is great for art.
Thank you so much, Don. So I'd like to thank all of you for being here today to listen to our chat. We were delighted to host this. Very great thanks to RMB and to TAF 2020 and to Glynis and Aisha and to Lauren and Ryan who've helped us on this webcam. If there's any other questions, we're certainly here to answer in the next minute or two. We'll give it another minute or two. And thank you so much for dialogue. It was great to hear everybody's comments and to share with you today. And if you'd like any further information, or if you'd like to know anything more about the art, please don't hesitate to contact me. My cell phone number is 083 600 4030. You're welcome to give me a call at any stage, and we are all here to welcome you and to share our different experiences of what we've created together.
Great. Well, I've been fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, I think it's a great, and the honor goes to Stompie for his unbelievable work, and to Isa for help bringing us together. We are eternally thankful.
And I look forward to more, and I look forward to all of those who've been online with us today. You're welcome to also send me your details, and we can invite you when we do things in the future. We are going to work as a team going forward. So please don't hesitate to send me your email addresses and your contact details, and we'll keep in touch. And thank you so much, Chantal, for your lovely messages, and to Angela and to the team and anybody else who's out there. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Springtime. Springtime.
Great.